Mike and Tom are registered with Stewart Partners Global Advisory LLC.
Common Sense Finance with Mike Wiginton and Tom Farrell of HL Wiginton Capital Management, an independent investment and financial planning firm in downtown Jasper. Mike is a chartered financial analyst charter holder, and Tom is a certified financial planner professional. They are here to discuss and give their thoughts on current financial and economic matters. Now, with Common Sense Finance, here are Mike and Tom.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Common Sense Finance. I'm Mike Wiginton, and this is Tom Farrell. And today, Tom's going to be leading us through a conversation about retirement planning. And before, Tom, you get started, because I know you don't like to be interrupted on a regular basis, and I enjoy actually interrupting you on a regular basis, I want you to address something at some point, and that is this experience that we have from time to time where folks will come in, and today's April the 16th, and so they come in and say, hey, I'm going to retire on August the 1st, or maybe even the end of the year, and I thought I'd come see you guys about getting my financial affairs in order. And then we accumulate their financial documents and their the data on their situation, and we plug it into our financial planning platform. And the reality of their circumstances doesn't really line up nicely with them retiring on their planned date. And of course, that can wind up being an awkward conversation. What do you say about that, and how to, and more importantly, how to avoid such circumstances?
Yeah, that can be a tough conversation to have with the clients when their resources don't match up with their expected lifestyle in retirement. So the main thing is to have a plan, like you said. We need to put that in place as soon as possible. But a few steps that you can take to make that transition from working to retirement a lot smoother, and I'll run through a couple of those steps. And hopefully this is something that can help everybody out. So look out 4 to 5 years from retirement. So you're thinking about retirement. Hey, it's going to be out there, and I'm serious. I've set the date, and it's 4 or 5 years out. We recommend to start building a cash reserve at that point. And by the time you retire, you need to have about 12 to 18 months of cash on hand in the savings account, checking account, whatever. And the reason for that is if you have money in your IRA, 401k that's going to be invested partially or wholly in the stock market, you don't want to be in a situation where you're having to pull money out of that if we're in a situation where we have a coronavirus come through, and your account value's down substantially. You want to be able to pull that money out of that cash bucket first before you start depleting your IRA, which is invested in the market.
Sure.
So 3 years out, going back to that, you want to take a close look at your allocation. For the reasons we just mentioned, the coronavirus thing popped up. You want to kind of dial back a little bit on the amount that you have invested in stocks and increase your fixed income or your bond side, because if it will cushion any significant downturn in the market for you a little bit at a time where you don't need a lot of volatility. Now, with that said, that doesn't mean, because we've heard this all before, hey, when you get to retirement, you need to put all your money in safe stuff. You can't handle any volatility, put it all in bonds or CDs or whatever. We're not talking about that. We're talking about reallocating to a healthy dose of equities at that point. And because studies have shown after retirement, you're probably better off to start increasing your equity exposure as you go through retirement, because if you plan to retire at 60 or 65, you may live in retirement for 30 years, so you're going to need the growth in your portfolio to help sustain you through that.
And some of that can really be counterintuitive as well.
It is. It goes against probably what people have been told at the coffee shop or wherever about how to manage their money. But it does make sense, and the studies do prove that that's the best way to handle it. So that's another thing. So 3 years out, check your allocation. Make sure you're not too overweighted in stocks. Also 3 years out, and this just makes practical sense, to take care of any major purchases that you plan in the next 3 or 4 years that may run into retirement. So if you're planning on putting a new roof on your house, you're planning to remodel your kitchen or bathroom or whatever, you're planning on buying a car or an RV, anything like that you can take care of well before you retire is going to help alleviate your budget when you do get into retirement, because your salary, you're not getting that salary anymore. So go ahead and take advantage of that and try to get those knocked out well before retirement. So 2 years out, review your estate plan, make sure you have your power of attorneys and all that stuff up to date. That's just a good practice to do that every few years anyway.
Right.
But as you're about to go through a major life change from working to retirement, it's a good time to update those and make sure that you have everything set up exactly like you want to. And then the last thing is a few months before you retire, especially if you work for a corporation, go ahead and set up an appointment to talk to your folks in the benefits department. Talk to them about what all your options are, what makes sense for you to transition to retirement. And if you're younger than 65 and you're going to retire, go ahead and talk to them about COBRA. A lot of times, getting your health insurance through COBRA before you begin Medicare is going to be a lot less expensive than having to go out on the open market and pick that up. So go ahead and start doing that months before you plan on retiring. So those are some things that I think can help if people take those steps to do that before they retire with a little bit of planning. It'll make that transition smooth.
Well, and the common feature I think that amongst the folks that always have a easier transition is that they have some flexibility. And the further out that you start this planning process, the more flexibility in terms of the income that you or the asset level that you have, where those assets are placed. Having that flexibility certainly makes the transition into retirement much easier and makes that conversation a lot more pleasant as well.
Yes.
So with that said, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.